Thanks a lot. Thanks for the great introduction. I'm Max. I'm head of product at Tatum. I will quickly share my screen just to make sure that that works as well. Perfect. Okay. So yeah, thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to talk a bit about Tatum and what we've learned in the past year. I will begin with a very quick intro about what we're doing at Tatum, how we want to change the magical blockchain wonderland, and then I will talk a bit about our findings from the blockchain space in the past year, where I think we are headed, and hopefully provide you with some interesting numbers. As a wise man once said, I think it might have been Winston Churchill, but I might be wrong. Don't build Web3 stuff from scratch, build it on Tatum. Tatum is a development platform that allows any developer to build blockchain apps. The emphasis here is on any developer, as we simplify blockchain development to such an extent that no previous blockchain experience is required. We provide developers access to infrastructure for over 40 different blockchain protocols and a unified framework for communicating with them. So how does it work? It's easiest to describe by taking a look at it in several stages. At our bottom or most simple level, we have managed infrastructure, managed blockchain infrastructure, managed nodes for pretty much any commonly used chain. On top of the nodes is our abstraction layer and API. We simplify a lot of complex blockchain stuff into simple API calls that are understandable for any developer. And on top of that, we have a wide range of SDKs and developer tools, such as our key management system, that make it even easier for developers to build their projects. And the real cool thing is that our abstraction layer makes it easy to switch between the different chains or build multi-chain solutions, as you have the same API calls for different chains with very few blockchain-specific exceptions. So in other words, or very simply said, you can have one API call to mint NFTs on Ethereum, Polygon, Celo, Solana, Tron, and many others. Right now, we have around 20,000 users, more than 6,000 live projects built on Tatum, and about $2 billion per month of average transaction value processed over Tatum. And that's all the advertisement space we could afford for today, I promise. Let's start at taking a look at some of the interesting stuff that we learned from our developers last year. Having a lot of blockchain devs building on us, of course, gives us pretty decent insights into what projects are actually being used by developers and enterprise clients. And probably it's not going to be a big surprise to you. The last year has been crazier than ever. NFTs brought blockchain not only to pop culture, art, and collectibles, but also to enterprise. We had tremendous interest by a lot of enterprise clients that previously had no exposure to blockchain or crypto at all, and they just wanted to build some sort of NFT solution. So most of them wanted to do something in the range of collectibles, but a very strong enterprise interest, which was rather exciting. And generally speaking, the vast majority of our new clients in the past year have been building a NFT solution, and the level of players that joined proves that NFTs will definitely stay beyond the hype. We've seen a lot of new blockchains become well established as new contenders throughout the last year. Celo, Solana, and Polygon all gained ground in terms of adoption, and many other new players successfully launched blockchains that are already showing upward trends. The rise of cross-chain bridges and increased focus on interoperability indicate that there's a strong demand for multi-chain solutions. This can also be seen by our abstraction layer that I've just shown. A lot of the developers, or the vast majority of developers that is using Tatum, is not only building for one chain, but for multiple chains. So now let's take a look at the charts. Everyone loves charts. This chart shows how many of our developers used a specific chain in their project, and you can clearly see that Bitcoin is still king. Tron also has crazy high adoption. That's mainly due to the fact that it's now the main chain for USDT. But what is quite interesting actually is that although Bitcoin is integrated in the most products, it's actually barely used. So in this chart, you can see the number of transactions that are processed using the Tatum framework. And you can see that Bitcoin isn't even in the top 5. And Polygon had a incredibly impressive breakthrough in the past year, making 93.87% of our entire number of transactions. They managed to attract some of the biggest projects in DeFi and NFTs, and they've just performed incredibly well. If you ignore the more or less unannounced security critical hard fork at the end of 2021. What's also quite interesting is the distribution between on and off-chain transactions. So here you can see that projects built on Tatum are still definitely primarily using on-chain transactions. We have a very, very easy to use feature to reduce the amount of on-chain transactions to improve scalability. But on-chain transactions are definitely still more used, which is also good. Last but not least, the title is actually wrong here. We have NFT contracts deployed versus ERC20 contracts deployed. So here we can clearly see that in the past year we had way more, 80%, more than 80% NFT contracts deployed, and only 70% ERC20 contracts deployed, which is a very interesting trend. It's gonna be interesting to see how this continues in this year. That could be mainly due to the massive hype, but it could also be simply because people now prefer to use a different token standard. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it from my side. I'm not 100% sure about the format. If we have time for questions now, I'm more than happy to answer them. Artem, please let me know. Otherwise, you can reach out to me at max.power@tatum.io, and I'll be happy to answer you by mail. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. So, do we have any questions?
Okay, I'm seeing some questions coming in, so I'm just going to start answering them. What network are NFTs mainly minted on? So for our users, I think number one has been Polygon, followed by lower fee chains such as Celo or Harmony. Yeah.
Max, what's the reason that everybody?
Any other questions?
Can you hear us?
What about Near? Near, unfortunately, I can't give you any numbers because we don't have Near integrated yet. This might change, but I can't give any numbers. Also, to be fair, for instance, Solana, we only integrated in the end of last year. So for Solana, we have not very accurate numbers, or we simply can't really compare it to other chains. Do we offer any consulting? For sure, for our enterprise clients, we are looking to guide them in their development journey. We also guide them by helping them to identify the right blockchain for their use cases. For our general community, we have a pretty nice community on Discord and Telegram where we have a lot of interesting development related discussions. So if you're interested, feel free to join there as well. What exactly do you mean by previous blockchain development experience no needed? Well, the cool thing is, or like, if you want to build on a blockchain, let's say it's an EVM-based blockchain, you need to know Solidity. Most Web2 developers that are used to build on APIs or similar things have no idea about Solidity. They have no idea about smart contracts in general. They might not have an idea about functional programming languages in general. And what we're doing with Tatum is simply taking care of all of these more complex blockchain things that could be either the languages themselves, as in Solidity, or there's a lot of blockchain specific knowledge you need to have. Some blockchains require specific funding for transfers and so on, fees, all of these sort of things you don't need to know. You don't need to be a blockchain expert in order to develop using Tatum, because we're trying to minify all of that specific knowledge into very, very simple calls that also provide a lot of explanation around it. So if you want to learn more, you can always dive deeper into the blockchain space, as what I also explained in the beginning, like on this chart. You can connect to Tatum pretty much on any level. So you can simply go directly into the managed blockchain infrastructure and do basic Web3 direct in like stuff directly on the chain, but you can always go back higher and use one of our simplification levels. So because I know the Ethereum network is so bad for the planet, takes 10 years for one tree to offset the carbon footprint of one NFT minted on the Ethereum network. I'm not 100% sure if that number is accurate, probably not entirely wrong. We've seen relatively few NFTs minted on Ethereum in the past year, mainly because there are incredibly high gas fees. Shankar, for sure, feel free to just drop me an email. I'm going to show it again. Or join one of our community channels. How close are we from a WYSI? I'm sorry, I have no idea what that is. I know I look young, but I don't know internet language very well. I have no idea what WYSI, WYG is. Maybe you can write it out, or I can Google it.
Max, do you hear us here?
Any other questions? Can I build play to earn? What you see is what you get. Thanks a lot. Like Canva, that's a good question. So I think we're not at that level of simplification yet. So you still, it's need to have a little bit of knowledge. We are moving in that direction for sure. So for instance, one thing we've done and that is actually really, really successful. We have a lot of active installs and new users coming every day, although it's just an MVP. It's not like a perfectly finalized product. Is our Nft Wordpress plugin. So most of you are familiar with WordPress, I guess. It's a very easy and simple to use content management system. And what you can do with this WordPress plugin is you can set up a NFT shop, more or less, together with WooCommerce. So you can very easily mint NFTs from within WordPress and sell NFTs from within WordPress. So that's that goes a little bit in that direction, I would say. And we've seen that this is incredibly successful. We will most likely have some sort of framework at some point where anyone can prepare these sort of templates stuff that is built on Tatum. And I think we will definitely see these level of simplifications, at least for standard stuff, probably even within the next year.
So thank you, Maximilian, for the...
Okay, very cool. Where is possible? You can simply find the plugin by searching NFT Maker in the WordPress store. Simply Google WordPress NFTs. Tatum, maybe at Tatum. There's also GoDaddy just recently published a pretty nice tutorial on how to set up your WordPress instance with the Tatum NFT plugin.